Let's break down the reading from Sinetar, shall we? Remember, there are 3 questions that I want you to get into for this reading. Why most people don't follow their vocations, what is a vocation, and how do I follow? So question 1, and this is pages 13 to 18 from the reading, and that you look at the top of the page. Those are the page numbers I'm referring to. So one reason why people don't follow their vocation is that it requires for us to get deep within us. And we have to become aware of really what's going on in our innermost self. So get through all the layers, the masks, the personas I wear, and what's going on really within my deepest desires. That takes some work. What happens in order for us to follow our vocation? So first we have to become aware. That's tough. And then even more difficult, or sometimes just as difficult, is we have to take action on that awareness. Yikes, that's tough. Why don't I like to become aware? Well, because many times what happens when I become aware is that I experience a death. It's an awareness of who I am. One of the little deaths that's been coming on in my life this COVID season is that I'm aware of that my old way of teaching no longer works. The old Mr. Garavalia's theology class is dead. We can't do face-to-face discussions in the whole class. I can't be with all of you at once. And so what I've spent most of my summer doing this past summer was that I would think about it and worry about it, but procrastinate it, not do anything about it. So first of all, becoming aware of it, there's grieving that had to happen. I just had to, and then also had to take new action. So this video is actually a byproduct of that action. Hooray! Well, so in order to get the courage to go deep within to our desires and also to take action on what we find out, we need role models. And that's what really fairy tales are all about. And Disney has figured this out, that a lot of the movies Disney puts out speak to this deep need for fairy tales. And here's a 2009 version of Up, one of my favorites. And the hero, Russell, young boy there, has to get clear about what is it that he really wants and then take action on it. And he's helped by this other character. Fairy tales give us role models on how to follow our vocation. Another role model will be Sir Thomas More. Sir Thomas More was tight with the king, but yet the king did something that was objectionable. And he knew in his heart of hearts that he couldn't be down with that. He had to object. And so that's his journey of trying to figure out how to be true to himself and to say no. And we have many examples of that in day-to-day life, in history. Be interesting to think about who you can come up with on that one. So to recap, why most people don't follow their vocation is because it's scary, it's hard work. Now, question 2, what is a vocation then? So a lot of times we think of vocation, we think of the young baby Jesuits who come and talk about their vocation, and that is a vocation. But what Sinetar is trying to suggest, and what I want to make an argument during this module, is that we all have a vocation. I have a vocation, you have a vocation, we have one right here in this moment, and then moving forward out in the future. So what a vocation involves is a conscious assent. And what is an assent? An assent is an agreement, but I think of it as more kind of like a full-bodied yes. You notice her picture is that she's got her arms wide open, a la the Virgin Mary's, be it done to me according to thy will, or Jesus on the cross. Into thy hands I commend my spirit. Those are the kinds of full body ascents that I think a vocation involves. And then what happens is that a part of that, yes, but we also have to take action to live out that yes. So our life becomes a yes. And that's really what a Christian life choice is all about. This, of course, requires a growth mindset. So you can identify a vocation as that it's always leading you to grow, to be open to growth. The Jesuits talk about the Magis. And here we have Mr. Growth Mindset, Tim Kurt. And so he'd talk a lot about this in the classes about how is it that you can build your capacities and to continue to make progress. This is based on the work, just a fun little psychological fact. If you're at a party and you want to show off your knowledge of psychology, you can talk about dropping some Abraham Maslow. And Maslow talked about the hierarchy of needs, and you may get into that in Mr. Kickham's class. And another reason why living out your vocation is difficult is that a lot of the basics like psychological and safety and love and belonging have to be met before you actualize or become who God has called you to be. So, a vocation is a saying yes to your deepest desires and living out that yes. Last, how do we do that? How do we live out that yes? Well, first is that it always, oddly enough, means saying no, a social transcendence. So there's things that we have to let go of in order to say yes. So we have to let go of what people think of us. We have to let go of being on autopilot, kind of going through the motions. We have to let go of the things that are really kind of safe and familiar, but not that life-giving. And we have to let go of the ways in which we kind of sabotage our own happiness. So letting go of collective opinion. That's tough. No matter what stage of life you're in, you always want to be liked. I know I want people to like me. I have to let go of my living unconsciously, just kind of going through the motions and reinventing myself and being able to do something new. The direct and safe routes. As a theology teacher, I want to let go of the way I've always done things. Quiz, lecture, discussion, and something like a video. The peculiar risk-avoiding tendencies. For me, one of them is procrastination. Think about something, and then it's done, And that's a way to really just sabotage my own happiness. Okay.